Welcome everyone to the hero reveal overview for the new character Medjay, which is the second hero in the Outlanders faction to arrive, but the first hero ever to have two completely different fight modes, those being a staff mode and an axis mode. In this video we're going to go over the moveset, the max punishes, the executions and more, as well as some general tips and tricks that I'll be giving you throughout the video about how to best optimize your experience with Medjay from day one. Alright, welcome everyone to the training arena with the one and only Medjay, the new Outlander character. In this session we're going to go through every single move in his moveset, but along the way I'm also going to give you a few tips and tricks to use in duels and ganks as well, so that you know how to best utilize the character when he is released. So the main thing to note about this character, which sets him aside against all others, is the fact that he has two different modes for his weapon. He has staff form and axis form. So without further ado, let's get into the moveset. So the first thing is his chains. So he has an infinite chain from heavy to light and light to heavy, known as 1000 Suns and 1000 Suns alternate. So quite simply it looks like this. So you can do light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, as much as you want, and to finish it you do two of the same move. So there I just did the double light to finish, and now I'm going to finish with a double heavy. So heavy and heavy, and that finishes your chain. And after that you can't then do another attack. No matter how hard I try and click my R1 or my R2, you won't be able to do an attack. So the next thing is how do you go into transform. So the most important thing to know, which is backwards and then use your Guardbreak button. So I'm like this in staff mode, and then I walk back, press square because I'm on PS4, and I'm in axis mode, and then walk back, press it again, and I'm back to staff mode. Now the thing to note, that he has a property where he can cancel the recovery of any attack with his fast flow transform. So I can do light and quickly change into axis, I can do heavy, change back into staff, and vice versa. The thing to note is that when you're locked on and when you unlock, you will automatically go back into the default of the staff mode. So no matter how hard I try, I can be in axis mode, I can try and unlock in axis mode, I'll just go back to the staff. And obviously if you're in staff mode and you unlock, you'll still stay in staff mode. So staff mode is always the default. If you are in a duel, you can quickly unlock and unlock back again, and it's sort of like a quick version of the staff form flow. I'm not sure the numbers on it, but you can quickly unlock and go back into it, and then you're in staff mode. So that is one quick thing to note there that's not mentioned in the moveset. Next thing, so that's Medjay's dual mode. So as it says there, Medjay will only be forced back to staff mode when exiting guard mode or executing as well. So next thing, so throne room clutch is forward dash guard break. And then we've got the throne room tackle, which is the same input, but throne room clutch is in staff mode, throne room tackle is in axis mode. It is worth noting now that basically he has exactly the same moveset for his staff mode and his axis mode. So you don't have to do a lot of thinking about, what I'm going to remember two different movesets. You basically don't. You just have to know just the one. The only thing that does change is there are some properties that change. So I'm going to demonstrate that now with this move here. So the forward dash guard break. So in axis mode, it's basically a bash, like that. And it confirms a light. You can quickly press guard break again, and you can do another bash. So you can do bash light, however much you want. You only get 9 damage from that light attack though, so it's not the most damaging attack in the world. It'll take a while for someone to bash you down with that, and if you're not going to dodge, then yeah, it'll take a few hits before you're taken down. The forward dash GB from staff mode looks like this. Very, very slow attack, does 20 damage. It's very unlikely that this is going to hit in a duel. This is more for like a gank setup. So if you've got a teammate who's hitting your opponent from the side, or he's GB'd him or something, then you can basically confirm that hit for the 20 damage, and then someone can do like a heavy after that for more damage. In a duel, it's not likely going to be hit unless you're playing someone who doesn't really know how to dodge very well, or has the reactions of a something very slow, like a slug. So, yeah, the forward dash bash is the much more aggressive attack to use, and you want to use that in 1v1s. Also, after that, as you saw there, you can use that as a chain starter. So then you can go into your infinite chain. I don't think I mentioned, but yeah, so staff mode you have the infinite chain, and also in axis mode you have the infinite chain. So heavy light, heavy light, heavy light, heavy light, and again do the same move twice to finish, and that'll finish off your chain. In axis mode, if you do a double heavy to finish, then your attack, it'll be unblockable. So it'll look like this. It'll do 30 damage. I have the damage log on in the bottom right there, and also you can see the stamina cost as well for those interested. Next move to note is the Throne Guard. So Throne Guard works in both modes. It's basically a dodge heavy, like that. Just make sure you don't hit a wall. And you can use that as a chain starter. So it can be used in staff mode, of course. And then you can use it in axis mode. And as you see there, he can block your dodge heavy, and you can still continue to attack. One other thing to note when you're in axis mode, if you do a chained light and he blocks it, then that's the end of your chain. You can't then attack after. However, if you're in staff mode, you can do a heavy light he can block, and you can still continue your chain. So they are uninterruptible lights. The next move, following on from the dodging moves, is the dodge forward heavy, which looks like this. Dodge forward and heavy. That can be chained into other attacks. Same thing for the axis mode. Dodge forward, chain into attacks. So it's good if your opponent is running away and you can chase them down. Main thing to note here that's not mentioned is that the staff mode forward dodge heavy does more damage than the axis mode forward dodge heavy. So that does 22 damage, whereas axis mode does 16. Which is a good thing, because you're most likely going to be chasing someone in staff mode, because as I said before, it defaults to the staff mode. Then you run and dodge forward heavy, and that's 22 damage. The next thing is the zone, which is called Nomad Slash. So this is basically the same input, obviously, for staff mode and axis mode. Looks like that. Good for anti-ganking scenarios. The zone from staff mode has a bit better hitbox than the axis mode. The good thing about the axis mode zone, however, is the fact that it is classed as a heavy, so you have quick access to your unblockable, and because it's not a light, it means that they can block it, and it doesn't matter, you can still go straight into your heavy finisher. So as you can see there, so light is blocked, Can't do anything. However, if they block the zone, I can go into the unblockable. One cool little thing, which isn't really mentioned, is he has actually got a specific hero emote in Axis mode called the Taunt Twirl, which is basically triangle. So if you notice here, I'm locked on and I do triangle. He'll do his emote. However, if you're in Axis mode, he does a little special taunt there, which is the axe twirl. So, not really going to be used much as an actual mechanic for dueling. It's not likely going to put anyone off, but it's a nice little feature there. Nice little attention to detail there. Further on, we have the Nomad Rush. This is the last move in his moveset, which is basically the running attack out of lock R2. So it looks something like this. And of course, because you can't run with out of lock Axis mode, so you can't do that in Axis mode, so it's just in staff mode. You can actually chain it as well. So you can be out of lock, then go into lock with it, and continue your chain like that. Don't think you can go straight into the bash though in staff mode. You have to do a second hit before you can do that. And that is basically all of his moves in a nutshell. So now we'll go over, I'll just double check I haven't missed anything on the hero specific parts of it. So yeah, so chain starters, all throne and nomad attacks are chain starters. We just covered that. Basically, the throne room attacks are your dodge attacks, and then the nomad is the zone, and the nomad slash is the zone, and the nomad rush is the out of lock attack. So that is basically just reiterating that. Chain finisher, use light or heavy attack twice in a row, performs the finisher. So you've got like light, light, and then you've got heavy, heavy. I also really love, so if you do a top light as a finisher, it does a really, really cool animation. I don't know why, but I absolutely love that animation. And the sound as well is absolutely beautiful. Do love it. The next thing, so transform recovery cancel, so we mentioned that. Cancel the recovery of any attack or a parry with transform. We'll get into parry punishes a little bit later. So basically you can attack and then go straight into your Axis form if you were in staff mode. So you can switch fairly quickly. And then remember at the beginning I mentioned if you're in Axis mode you can actually out of lock. You'll go straight into your staff mode as well. So yeah, so fast flow to Axis mode. So when entering guard mode, use transform to fast flow into Axis mode. Okay, so you're in staff mode and then you quickly lock on and you can quickly go into Axis mode like that. That's basically what that means. Throne room attacks in chains. Both throne room specials can also be performed after any opener or chain light attack by pressing square or Guardbreak button for Xbox or PC if you're using mouse and keyboard. So the throne room specials, they are basically your bashes. So yeah, that's basically after any light they can be used. So when you're running around, you have to do a light before you can go into your throne room special. And you don't have to dodge forward, you can just press GB and it'll do it automatically. But if you want to do it from neutral, you have to dodge forward and bash. But once you're in your bash flow, you can just keep pressing square after a light and you'll keep bashing them. So there we go. And then finally we've got uninterruptible stance in staff mode. So that was mentioned. So all chain and finisher attacks have uninterruptible stance in staff mode. Basically it means you have hyper armor. And then your unblockable heavies in axis mode are for the finishers. So if you do a finisher in staff mode, you'll have hyper armor. The top one actually does the most damage. If you do a finisher on top, it does 34 damage. If you do a finisher from the side, it does 32. If you're in axis mode and you do the finisher from the top, you get 30. If you do it from the side, you get 30 as well. And the final thing is just the revenge mode. He has revenge, which is good. Right, so next thing, so Guardbreak Punish. If you're in staff mode, you get a top heavy, a bit like Warlord. Don't do it from the side, otherwise you will just block it, or they're very likely to block it. You'll get 5 damage, but it's a block, or they can actually, yeah, it'll only be that. However, if you GB and throw them to a wall, you can get, I think you can get. No, you can't. I think it has to be a certain distance. So if you're too close, they can block it. I think this guy's too close. So yeah, it's better to just do the GB and get the top heavy. It's only 24 damage for the top heavy instead of 27 if you can get the side heavy off. But yeah, it's only 3 damage difference. In axis mode, you get a heavy from every side. So top is 23 and side is 23. Alright, so now we're going to go and show off the out of stamina punishes. This is a very important thing to know if you want to maximize the amount of damage that you have in 1 versus 1s. So let's start off with axis mode for this. So Guardbreak Punish, same side heavy and finisher heavy. And what I mean by same side heavy is if you have your guard mode at your left, for example, and you do a throw, you want to do the first heavy from the left. If you are in left, for example, and you throw and do a top heavy and then a finisher, they will be able to get up before your second heavy is thrown off. So make sure if you're in top, you throw, do a top heavy and a finisher. It doesn't really matter if you are in top, you throw, do a top heavy and a side heavy. It's pointless really to just change your guard. Like, you might as well just do another top heavy. The best thing that I do to remember this is basically not to even touch your guard analog stick or mouse if you're on mouse and keyboard. So you just throw, do 2 heavies, don't touch your analog stick. Next thing, if they go for a parry, it's the same punish. So double heavy. You can actually do a different side heavy from a parry, and you'll have time to throw off both, but keep it simple. 2 heavies, same side that your guard was initially, and that'll do it. And that will also give a total of 53 damage. So 53 damage is his maximum out of stamina punish, as far as I'm aware, as I'm making this vid. Now, staff mode. This is where things get a little bit interesting. So if you GB and throw, do a zone and a top heavy, that'll get you 48 damage. You can't get a double heavy when in staff mode because it's too slow, even if you do a same side top heavy. So they'll just stop that. However, if they go for a parry, or they throw an attack at stamina and you parry it, then you can fast flow into your axes mode and then do the dual axes max punish. So basically I'm going to throw an attack, he is going to try and parry it, I am going to parry his out stamina heavy, then I'm going to fast flow into my axis mode and just do the 2 top heavies. So I'll show you that now. Fast flow, double heavy, and that'll get you 53 damage, which is a little bit more than if you do the zone on top heavy, which is 48. So you get an extra 5 damage if you do the fast flow. That didn't work because I changed my guard side. So yeah, that is the max punish. So basically all max punishes are a same side heavy into a second heavy, apart from if you grab them in staff mode, you're just gonna zone and top heavy. So yeah, that is the out of stamina punishes. Okay, so now we're going to get on to a lot of people's favourite part, the executions. So let's get into it. Let's give this guy a few attacks. And the first one is the axis mode switch, taking off his head just like that. That is his fastest execution as far as I'm aware, so you probably want to bind that to your square button or Guardbreak button for easy access so that you can get a quick kill. If you're in a gank situation, you want to prioritize those fast executions, remember, because they do have different timings. And then we get on to the second execution, which looks like this. Very, very nice. So he basically takes one of your fan axes and then you finish him off with the other one. And then the third execution, after we just whittle this poor guy's health down. Classic execution there, taking his head off from the floor. And then my absolute favourite, save the best till last, is this one here. Absolutely beautiful. It must have been a bit of a nightmare to animate that, to get that perfect. I'm assuming no one actually had to do that in real life because it looks a little bit unrealistic, but it looks exceptionally cool. Okay, and for this last bit, I'm basically just going to set this bot here to level 3, and then I'm going to show you all the different moves that can be done, just to show you what it would look like in an actual duel setting. So let's set this guy to be able to fight back, and let's begin. So as you can see there, even the bot knew to go straight into axis mode for duels. So remember that axis mode you want to use crucially for duels, and for staff mode you want to use it for anything else basically. So 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4, you get the idea. One thing which I didn't mention but should be fairly obvious is that if you parry a light you get a heavy, and if you parry a heavy you get a light. If I'm in staff mode and I parry a heavy, get a light, but if I'm in staff mode and I parry a light, then I'll get a side heavy, which is 27 damage. Like that. Whereas GB is just the top heavy. So yeah, dual mode, straight into the dual axis mode. He's a little bit like Berserker, but of course he has got his bash, which Berserker doesn't have. But unlike Berserker, he doesn't have hyper armor, So you want to make sure that you aren't getting hit through your attacks. So staff mode in a duel, not the best idea, but if you've been dueling someone for a long time, or you really want to mix them up, basically, you can switch to the staff mode just to make things a little bit different. Remember, you've got your fast flow, and they've got high prom as well, so that might catch them off a bit. But for about 90% of the time, you want to be using your axis mode for duels. He's a jack of all trades, he's a hybrid, but he's not a master of both. His power comes from the fact that he can swap between the two and do multiple different roles. So possibly better for something like Dominion than for straight up duels, because he can use both. But still in duels, he's still got decent pressure because he has that bash. So there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And if you do like the vid, then please, of course, leave a like as well. And if you want to see more, then please feel free to click the subscribe button. So hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video.